Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Johanna, and for today's In the Office Itaki Shabuki recipe, we're going to be doing a OYAKO don. Oyako is a chicken and egg Japanese rice dish. So anything don, D-O-N, is something on rice, and then the oyako is the chicken and the egg part. So we have some leftover katsu. That's chicken katsu we had from, I think it's Friday night. I only have a few pieces left. And I've got half of a chopped onion. In the Itaki, I've got about a cup, a little over a cup. I've got one of these Chinese spoons worth of soy sauce. I have 3 packets of sugar, because that's what I had on hand. And then I have this dashi, shrimp dashi. One of these little packs is supposed to be for 6 cups of water, and so I only used maybe like a third of it. I did taste it. I also added in a sprinkle of garlic powder as well as onion powder. That's not traditional, but I just wanted to add some flavor. Generally, you do the shoyu and the sugar, and then I've seen recipes do mirin and sake, but I don't have that, so I'm just using that as is. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to simmer the onions. That is definitely a lot more broth than generally is used, but I like it really soupy, and that's why I put extra broth. Once the onions, sorry, had a total brain fart, have softened a little, and I cut them really thin, then I will put the chicken in there to just warm. And then yes, I did lug some raw eggs to work. I'll be just doing a light scramble on that, and then I'll be pouring that in as well. So I'm going to put the onions in now, and hopefully I'll be able to film step by step that you can see it. I will be warming up the rice and putting it in a nice bowl, just because for this kind of dish, it's actually better if that is poured over rice. That's how it's intended. As usual, I'm filming this one-handed, so we'll see the process as it unfolds. I'll see you guys in a little bit. Okay guys, so it's been simmering for about 2 or 3 minutes. The onions are definitely getting softer. So I added the chicken katsu. There's about 5 pieces in there. Now, to be honest, traditionally you would use raw chicken, either chicken thigh, chicken breast, and you would simmer it in the sauce before you added the onions. You could even saute it, but I've used katsu before. It's just a really quick way. Honestly, I've even used McDonald's chicken nuggets. I just need the chicken aspect. It doesn't have to be super authentic, and if it's pre-cooked and you're just warming through, then it just makes it that much faster. I did scramble the eggs, and you're not supposed to scramble it very heavily. You don't want them combined. You do want a little bit of white and yellow once you put it in there. I did simmer the onions on high for the 2 to 3 minutes, and now I've got it back on low. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour the eggs in, and you just sort of pour it in like that. You kind of zhuzh it around. I generally like my eggs to be really cooked through. Some people like it about halfway cooked through. That is definitely up to your own preference. And then I'm going to let that simmer for maybe a minute or 2. Actually, I think I'm going to just turn it off and cover it and let it sit for a few minutes until it gets to the desired consistency. And then I'm going to very carefully try to pour that on here. I don't think it's made for that, so my rice is in the bowl. It's about a cup of rice. So I don't know how it's going to pour. I might have to use my tiny little spoon and ladle some in, but once it's in the bowl and I start to eat lunch, then I'll bring you guys back. Okay, so I did pour it out of the pot, and as you can see, there was no stickage of any kind, no burning, but there was quite a bit of liquid, so that makes sense. All right, guys, so it is in the bowl. Now, I have to tell you, even if you go to a Japanese restaurant and you order OYAKO don, it always looks like this. There might be some Japanese parsley, I think it's like mitsuba or something like that, or some regular parsley or some green onions just to add a bit of color. But yeah, this is what it looks like. In fact, most of the time the egg is half cooked, and you might even have a raw egg on top of it because I really like the difference in the texture. I like my egg a little bit more cooked, and I definitely like it soupy like this. You won't find that much soup in an OYAKO don that you purchase from a store or a restaurant or whatever. I think it looks good. What I had to do was scoop out all of the solids and then pour the juice, and then it worked a dream. So I don't have any spillage anywhere else on the desk. I'm gonna go ahead and let this cool down just a little bit because it is piping hot, and then when I'm done, I'll give you my thoughts on the process as well as how this tasted. All right, guys, so that is the aftermath. I actually didn't eat most of the rice, but that is to be expected. Honestly, I think I bring rice because it's traditional to eat it with rice, but I think I could just eat it as is. My favorite part is the onions, and then the chicken is a really close second. It gets, and I don't know if you've ever had chicken katsu, but if you purchase it from a restaurant, a drive-in, or whatever, it is crunchy. When you simmer it in water, or just simmer it in any kind of liquid, then the chicken becomes a little bit more tender, and then the crust kind of dissolves into the soup. I don't know how to explain it better, but it's quite tasty, and that's why I actually prefer it with breaded chicken, so either leftover katsu or leftover chicken nuggets. I've had it with like chicken thigh, and to me, it's that extra layer of flavor from the breading that really makes it. The sauce itself is a balance between sweet and savory and salty. The dashi is actually a bit fishy, so if you just have dashi soup with like udon noodles, then it's definitely more of a fish-based sauce. But in here, you can't taste any fishiness. You really just taste the shoyu, the onions, and a little bit of sugar. It's not an overly sweet dish, but I think it just adds another layer of saltiness to the dish. Plus, I didn't use that much. Overall, because I was able to bring everything in one container, it was a layer of rice, a layer of chicken. I had the eggs in its own baggie, wrapped individually with paper towel, and the onions cut in its own thing. That one container was just really portable for me to bring, and then of course the actual machine. And so I think it was totally a win, and from start to finish this probably took me about 10 minutes. It did help that the chicken was already cooked. If I had to cook the chicken, I probably wouldn't have brought it because I don't want to bring raw chicken. I don't know why, but bringing raw chicken to the office seems very gross to me. Bringing raw eggs, not so much, because they're in the shell. It's not like they're just floating around just being raw in a baggie. But yeah, lunch was really good. It tasted exactly how I wanted it to. I'm just going to toss that. There's no point in keeping that. It's just really mushy rice at this point. And then not sure what's going to be on the menu for tomorrow, but that was lunch for today. If you have any questions, definitely leave them in the comments below. And as always, aloha.